Stop. Wait. Don't skip this video because I'm going to be breaking down how I made a full character rig of Neytirix using Blender and ZBrush. Let's get started. For those of you who don't know, this is a remake of an old video I made on the channel where I sculpted the same design of Neytirix 4 years ago. That is scary how fast that's gone. It's been so long that I think I can do better, so let's try. Okay, so starting off, we're just making a little base mesh here using some primitive shapes and objects. Just using spheres because I feel like it works the best for making up a character model. Because we're just working to like refine where we want everything to be, and at this stage we're not really worried about anatomy so much as more that we're just focused on making everything look like it's in the correct place, if that makes sense. So we're just going in and moving stuff around and seeing what sticks at this stage. After making the basic block out, we move on to the more advanced stage of just combining everything together using Dynamesh, which for people that don't know is basically the method of taking two meshes and merging them together for sculpting. So at this point I'm just adding in like stuff like the neck and things because this character is quite slender, so I was trying to make them skinny and not too broad-shouldered because that is not really the anatomy that you want to have when you're doing a character like this. So as you can see here, I'm just going in and fixing some things and moving things into the right place before moving on to the model as its kind of final look, so I can move on to doing things like the skull, the hair, and all the animals and things. At this stage I was moving on to doing stuff with the actual body, like the skull and the forms of the eyes and things, because I wanted to put everything together and kind of get stuff working in the right direction. When I was happy with the overall shape of the skull, I moved on to adding areas like the teeth and the extra details of the skull itself, and removing extra areas on the mesh that I didn't really need for this sculpt. After that, I moved on to the hair of the character, and they've got this kind of nice bunch up effect at the back of the hairdo, so I was wanting to try and create that just using some primitives and some move tools and moving stuff around to kind of get the effect of everything kind of swirling onto each other like a hair bun, I suppose. So that's what I was doing here, just dynameshing and ZBrushing to get the topology to be cleaner to work with and just whacking things together. I wasn't too concerned about making everything exactly perfect at this stage. It was all about just adding stuff in and seeing what worked. When I was happy with the overall look for the hair, I moved on to the body clothing, just using mask extracts here so that I was able to get good clean topology by ZBrushing a few times and seeing what was working. And I was just using stuff like the move tool, the draw brush, just some basic tools to get my overall look I was going for. When I was happy with the overall look of the clothing, I moved on to polymodeling some of the hard surface objects on the character, such as these things that I'm going to refer to as, I don't know, chopsticks or something similar. I don't really know what they were, but I'm going to use those and put them in the hair, just like in the reference artwork. Obviously, things are going to be exactly the same to the artwork because I'm going to put my own little spin on the design slightly. But at this point, I'm just going in and refining the shapes of everything and making sure that the modeled areas instead of the sculpted areas will look good when they are on the character. When I was happy with the look of the character in Blender, I brought it over into ZBrush to begin the high poly sculpting on top of the base that we have so far. This process took a little bit of time to get correct, as I was really wanting to capture all the details possible of the character. When I was happy with the model, I moved on to the texturing and UV unwrapping phase of the design process, which was probably the most time consuming part, because I had to go back and forth between Blender and Substance Painter to get my UVs to work correctly and not be hot garbage, so that was fun. It also meant that going between each meant that I noticed mistakes each time that I had to correct, and basically work iteratively to make everything work. But in the end, the model turned out pretty well, so I was happy with the results. After doing the UVing and getting things to work as I wanted, I moved on to the actual texturing side of things, and as you can see, there's no weird glitches this time because the maps were baked properly, which was a relief when I was making the actual project up. But as you can see, I was just going in here and adding in some areas and kind of making things look as close to the design shown by Neytirix in their artwork as I could. And that meant going through and doing a lot of iterations of the clothing design and the skull and the swords and things, and just making sure everything popped visually. After that, I brought the model into Blender and used a software called AutoRig Pro to rig my model so that I could put it in a fun pose. Nice. I, of course, could not forget about the pets, so I added them in as well, just using spheres and sculpting them to my needs. I spent a great deal of time on the pets for this character design session because I thought that they were a neat part of the original artwork and I wanted to include them. And I had them in my original piece from 4 years ago, but they were never really done that well because I was still learning sculpting at that time and baking and texturing. So these little guys and gals will be getting textured as well as baked. So I was just making sure that they had good topology and everything when I was sculpting them, so they would be not too difficult to handle and would work well as a final result. Just break my heart. After the animals were finished, it was time to move on to rendering. Just And there you have it, guys, the end of the video. This was a fun project to work on, and I hope you've enjoyed the whole process of going through it from start to finish, as it's been a very interesting thing to try and redo a piece from a couple of years ago and make it much better now that I have more skills to my name. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, comment down below what your favourite part was, and if you have any suggestions for future videos, I'd love to know. But if you made it to the end of the video, that's awesome. You're awesome. Thank you so much for watching, because it helps the channel so much. Consider liking and subscribing if you'd like. If not, I totally understand. It's up to you. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And if Neytirix managed to catch this video on their feeds, hello again, it's me. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for being a good inspiration for lots of awesome art. You're awesome and really cool. So thanks again. But yeah, till next time, guys. Thanks for watching.